you. Madam Fofana, good morning again.
Good morning, Vavle. I'm very happy to be here. How are you doing?
I'm fine.
Wonderful.
A lot of engagements. Tell us, how has it been?
Well, it's been really wonderful. It's been exciting time. As you announced, the president, His Excellency Joseph Boakai, just returned from South Korea along with his delegation. Very fruitful meetings held there, very exciting outcomes, and and he's very happy with the team's success and what he hopes to achieve out of the visit.
What is that particular motivation behind the president's availability to attend these bilateral, multilateral meetings? Does he see that as an opportunity to engage with the global community?
Well, Vavle, since His Excellency was elected to serve as the head of government of our country, from day one, he always talk about his role. He wants to ensure that Liberia is a better place, is better than how he met it. And even all of his aspirations that he talked about, everywhere he had gone, his next thing is, how can this come to Liberia? How can this be Liberia? And everything he sees as an opportunity to make those aspirations and dreams come to fruition is what he's engaged in. And these meetings, they're very important to be able to help His Excellency's government so that he's able to achieve what he's outlined for the Liberian people. And this summit and the previous summit, the Dallas summit, and this Korea one and future summits are all geared at working in the interest of Liberia and seeing how those partners can help support his agenda and vision for the Liberian people.
A lot of people like me were amazed by the display of, I think it is a minute or two video displaying essentially the kind of economic potential and investment potential that the country has. Is that something that will continue at future summits to showcase the kind of potential the country has?
Oh, absolutely. I actually just forgot. I was coming. I had planned it. I think it's in the car. My office, we did an investment profile of Liberia.
Okay.
That we're able to take to the summit. So that video was just, a short intro. But the video, people watch it and then people get busy and they forget. But if you have something like a magazine that you're able to see and read, and there's a message from the president, there's a different profile of different sectors, the agriculture, the roads, the technology, and different areas that Liberia has very good opportunities in terms of investment in those. So he was able to work with us along with the National Investment Commission, the Ministry of Information, Culture Affairs and Tourism, the MPA, to be able to showcase Liberia potential for investment. And that is available. I'm going to leave you a copy here.
Yeah.
So the goal about it is to be able to tell different partners, different individuals, different groups, different interests, to say these are our potential for investment. And that video was done by NIC, and it was something that was showcasing Liberia, how green we are, the potential in the different sectors and all of that. Yes. And
what was the reaction?
Well, it was amazing. And in fact,
because you can do the best thing, if the reaction is not interesting to those that you're selling, I mean, what's the essence?
In fact, this just go to say that our president is very strong despite his age. Vafle, you won't believe that we had left Liberia around, we left, it was almost 30 hours journey. As soon as we got to Seoul, we went straight to that investment summit that you saw. No rest, no hotel, just straight there. And he was there, addressed the summit. That was when you saw that first one.
Yep.
And there were two additional business roundtables, including that made it 3. Because it was so impressive, the people were interested to know more, to hear more. They galvanized some of the big businesses in Korea. For example, you had Daewoo, the people did the road, the company that did the road.
So it was not something planned, but it was because of.
It was planned, but he from there. So after that particular first one,
yes,
there were additional ones. So the second ones were not originally part of the schedule.
Yeah, but because
based on the excitement, the interest that they want to know more, they want to hear more. And Liberia is relatively a young country, and for investors, you want to look for the population and how you're able to tap into the manpower development. And big companies, they look for people who are available in terms of their age range. They want to be able to hire the workforce that's relatively young, and the potential. And even in Liberia, the wages are lower here. So these are all highlights in terms of how people who have different businesses are able to get returns on their investment. So after that first summit, there were additional summit and additional one. I was telling you earlier about the different companies that were in the room. We had Daewoo, the company that did the road, the clear to the Sierra Leone highway, the border, that road in Cape Mount. They were in the room. You had Hyundai, the chief executive officers, the car company. You had companies that made ships. You had companies that do a number of different things, agriculture, technology. And Korea is a technological hub. It's the home of Samsung. All the Samsung users of phones and stuff, they're made in Korea. And you had all these very large multinational and a lot of different companies who were there, people in agriculture, people in medical health, people in different areas. And there were a number of different engagements with those individuals and different people. It was really an important summit that the president and the delegation attended. And the outcome is, I can say, it was excellent.
Yeah, because a lot of people ask, what's there for Liberia? What's there for Liberia? Most times the what's there for Liberia is because of financial what's there for Liberia. But I was just reading at the joint declaration, as a matter of fact, that all countries they came up with a joint declaration, and Liberia is among several African countries that were present, poised to benefit this $10 billion US development assistance from the government and people of South Korea. That takes effect from now. Is it from now to 2030, or how is it going to be?
Okay, so you see, international organizations or countries, they have these investment portfolio, and so part of what you talking about is the $10 billion that have been talked about by Korea, and say this is what we intend to invest in Africa. That will be direct development assistance. So all of the different countries in Africa who are interested in being a part of this investment portfolio, you're now able to tailor your conversation, your priority sectors, and chip into the Korean team and say these are the areas we want to do that. And I people who do not understand these developmental initiatives, sometimes they tend to wonder, what Liberia got nothing. But people who don't understand, and I like to inform the Liberian people that actually Liberia got more than many countries. Liberia got double. The president and his delegation got double. In what way? So double, it means that 10 billion that's mentioned actually is 10 billion and 14 billion. The 14 billion is for Korean investment companies that are interested in investing in Africa, and they can be able to get some resources and support in that area, and the Korean government is committed to helping them in that. So that's what the 14 billion is for. And the 10 billion is direct development assistance that the Korea is interested in giving to African countries. Now, how Liberia got double? So this, naturally, we are part of this 14 and 10 billion, the 24 billion. So the onus now is on Liberia to craft her plans and ideas and key priority sectors with all her line agencies and engage the Korean side and say, out of the 10 billion, this is where we're interested in. We want your support and assistance in, for example, roads, like the president has consistently talked about opening the country, agriculture and whatnot. That's the first part. And then the 14 billion, where Korean companies that are in Korea on that pact who are interested in investing in Liberia, for example, can say, we want to engage on XYZ and we will get support from our government to do this. Now, the other part that Liberia is, succeeding on is the 7 agreement, the memorandum of understanding that was signed. And this is actually not part of those 14 and 10 billion. The entire African continent, all of the countries in Africa are part of that. But this particular MOU are separate from those. And the 7 MOUs are in different areas. For example, there's one on agriculture research. An agreement is done. In fact, this one is like happening. All of these MOU, the companies are looking forward to coming immediately because the MOUs were signed on June 7th. So as at June 7th, we already have an agreement with these 7 companies to start engaging and coming to Liberia and bringing their ideas and thoughts and see how they can do their development and work along with our side. And this is outside of the and $10 billion. And this is direct. So those 7 agreements, those 7 MOUs, one is in agriculture research, as I mentioned. As you know, Korea, this was amazing to me for me to realize that Koreans also eat rice like us. Yeah, it's like one of their staple as well. And to a point where you could see already cooked rice in a bowl that's sold on the shelf. You can just buy it and put it in your microwave or warm it up and put your soup on it and eat it. Even at breakfast,
so that's the commonality,
right? So in the rice sector, for example, there are companies that just do rice. There are companies that just do cassava. In fact, the agriculture minister had a long visit from the place we were in one of the areas that they have the factory, that this company only does starch out of cassava. Those discussions are ongoing. By July of this year, this is like we already in June. So next month, the team will be coming to Liberia to engage further, to check, search our different areas and see where we are.
So both sides attach importance and urgency.
Absolutely. In fact, the team are willing to come like yesterday. And the president was consistent, like, Liberia is open. What are you waiting for? Come, let's get this done. And besides the agriculture sector, in energy, there's a company that does solar energy and they're interested in building solar plant. Solar plant here, and that agreement was also signed. That MOU was also signed. They're about to come to Liberia to do their feasibility, to do a lot of groundwork and engage the necessary, contact and connect so that they're able to get that done. To do all our legal part, everything that has to do with the legislation and other things. But at this point, the MOUs were all interested in showing that we open the door for those kinds of conversation. And aside from that, on the issue of water, one of the MOUs also was on water and seawater. As you know, my own friend and brother Mo Ali has consistently complained about how the debt. People are owing LWSC so many money. And one of the companies, what they do meters, meter for the pump system that the water goes through that LWSC can benefit or use. And those meters, they're prepaid. They have some prepaid and they have some postpaid. So want to get into a system, for example, where like the LEC. You have a prepaid meter. You buy a current, then you use it. But if you do not have, if like postpaid, like Brimpo, we're not paying debt. So that's why you have more people owing. But if you have a system where it's a prepaid system, a service that's been offered by this company, and they're able to come and put your water, you pay as you use, when you put your meter on, what's available is what you use. When it's finished, you got to go. It's just like you have your trash card. When you get money in your phone, you got to go put money in there. So all of these different things are things that are going to happen. There's another company that does ship repairs, like this V-ship. Liberia has a very we're surrounded by water, like the whole coastal line, and most of our marine activities, we have big ships that are flying the Liberian flag. They're interested in that, and also they're also looking forward to doing some clothing, tailoring. Koreans are also very big in the fabric industry. So a number of many things that are happening, and these MOUs are all interested in opening the door and creating jobs for the Liberian people.
Yeah, one can understand why some people, on social media. So I saw this post from a friend, and then they say, okay, other countries got this, but they were all loans. For example, Kenya got loan. I think Tanzania got loan. South Africa got loan. But these are all loans. They are not grants. So I said, okay, per your logic, the government or the president should go Korea and swim in the pool of loans. Do you know the debt stock of the country already? And you want to add loans, so you don't know the condition under which these countries took loans. So conditions vary. That's my point.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, when I hear conversations of such as to loans, Tanzania got 2 billion, this other person got 10 million, loans, and you think about the past, how Liberia debt portfolio was very high. Even now as we speak, I mean, our current debt portfolio is very high, even on the domestic front, let alone the international front. I mean, for different reasons, countries take on different loans, and those loans agreement you have to be able to pay over time. And you can't just go, you say, oh, I'm going to go and credit. Basically, it's like I go and credit, and you credit, and the credit you got to pay back. It's not something that the country is going to give you on freebies. In fact, if you understand development, no development is free. There's no free lunch. However, other countries going to say, oh, this person got this loan, this other person got that loan, and why Liberia? And I'm just explaining that Liberia actually got more. Liberia is going to be part of the 24 billion that Korea is committing or has committed to Africa as well. In fact, and the other part that made Liberia even succeeded more is that our president, had a direct meeting with the president of Korea. Sometimes when people
he was few privileged.
He was one of the few privileged people who had a direct meeting, the bilateral with the president of Korea. And I didn't even meet one time. They had a meeting twice. The first time when he went, they had a reception for the leaders who were come there, and then he had a bilateral with the president of Korea, and the president agreed to support the arrest agenda and outlining a lot of different things, talking about scholarship opportunities, talking about the infrastructure development, talking about, all those. So the fact that the Korean president is in conversation with our president, and there's a 24 billion both for Korean companies and for Africa investment, that means once Liberia concludes her own package and say, these are the priority areas that we want our support, our part of the 10 billion to go to, this is something that is just a reminder to say Liberia has sent a package, and that makes it even easier for the Korean side, because as you know, leaders will not be in the nitty-gritty of the development of the different document. Yes, they will see it, they will sign off on the final, but then in the back end, their teams are the ones who's going to be able to push forward these different agreements and discussions. So Liberians just have to reach to a point where, I mean, where we sit, for example, Fafle, I mean, every day we see our president who's really very concerned and passionate about developing Liberia, making it better. And all of what he's doing is to ensure that happens. And people need to understand that, because, from the very beginning, people are like, oh, he's not going to meet. In fact, Liberia was not invited. Oh, he's not going to meet the Korean leader. And then when he met the Korean leader, oh, no, that was not a meeting. It was just a handshake. But I'm saying this to mean that Liberians just need to chill out, just need to believe that President Boakai has it for Liberia. He's going to do everything.
How is he respected among his counterparts? I mean, not somebody who looks inferior, somebody who even looks more superior, but also, engaging with confidence. And, you can see, I've seen pictures, and when you look at the pictures, they say picture speaks louder than words, but you see that it's not a president who is inferior or afraid to project his ideas amongst leaders of the continent or the world. How is he respected?
In fact, our president is one of the older presidents, on the African continent. By that alone, it gives him that automatic respectability. But more than that, he has been in the governance sector for quite a bit. And some of the leaders around the table already knew him when he was vice president, when he used to attend different meetings and fora representing Her Excellency at the time, President Sirleaf. And now that he's heading the country, is that natural, flow. But more so, Avable, there even more from sometimes you see him and other leaders, they're very excited. People literally get up from their seats and come to him, give him that respect. He speaks to him, gave him the honor, and a lot of them. So, for example, part of the summit, after the official meeting, there were side conversation. You had leaders, for example, he had a bilateral with Rwanda president, with Kigami, and then,
Paul Kagame,
William Ruto of Kenya, even the president of Tanzania, Salam, the lady, you could see her even bowing, giving that form of respect to him. You could see people, the president of Guinea-Bissau, the president of Equatorial Guinea, and many of these leaders, Ghana, Sierra Leonean president Marabio will come and say, "Oh, our father, Mr. President." That kind of respectability is what naturally he exudes, and people around the leadership in Africa see him, or they see him as someone who can unite and someone who is, that person that they can all respect and regard.
So I see here, as part of the joint declaration, the foreign ministers from the African nations and their counterparts in South Korea have been tasked to meet in 2026 to comprehensively evaluate the outcomes of the just ended Korea-Africa summit to discuss the way forward, including exploring possibility of holding the next summit. So we just wanted to understand this whole Korea investment in Africa, talking about disbursement of the fund or the lending of Korean companies into the African countries, including Liberia. Was anything discussed surrounding practical action? For example, moving from discussion to action.
In fact, different countries have different modules in how they intend to engage the Korean side. But from our end, I know then the Minister of Foreign Affairs and the team set up a follow-up committee who will be who goal and role specifically is to follow up drastically and put all the things necessary on it. We have NIC is on the committee, the Ministry of State is on the committee, Ministry of Foreign Affairs obviously is on the committee, even our colleagues, the embassy in Korea, they're on the committee, and a number of other people who can get things moving, they're all on the committee. And the essence is to ensure that a robust follow-up is done. That's what the president had even told the Minister of Foreign Affairs as well as the team there, that hey, yes, we've got this place, we've gotten to this point, but now let's get moving. Even, for example, there are some sectors that who heads were not in Korea, but they're also on the committee because those kinds of conversations directly involve them. For example, Minister of Public Works was asked to be on the committee as well, because of course, for obvious reasons, the role, because it is one of the president's key priority when it comes to that. Of course, Minister of Agriculture and the minister actually is really getting very busy in terms of making sure that all of these, MOUs that relates to agriculture can be achieved. The delegation, like I mentioned, coming in July. The other delegation coming sooner, or some of them coming later. The other delegation that's interested in ports, financial investment, even establishing bank here or investing in other financial services, they're supposed to be coming by October. So a lot of different, engagements are planned and they're happening simultaneously.
So we can say maybe next year we'll see action.
You'll begin to see people coming this year, and you will hopefully begin to see some active work. In fact, one of the MOU I didn't even mention, there's a company that does housing, and this housing they use refab materials like that's environmentally friendly, that goes through all weathers. That agreement was signed, that MOU was signed, so they're going to come and go and do an assessment and see how they can also begin to do different work in those.
While the president was away, there was something dramatic, and a lot of people have lauded the president for the swift action That was something that they're not used to. There will be a fight, internal fight at a particular government agency. Bosses will be at loggerhead, and the head of state will take his own time, to intervene. But for the president to immediately suspend the head of the LDA and his deputy for time indefinite while away, they saw that as a show, a display of leadership. The president said investigation was ongoing. How far with that? What's going on? When do we see the outcome of the investigation?
Oh, I can tell you the president, I mean, once that information was out, the president was disappointed in the leaders of the entity. As you know, the president really puts premium on the issue of drugs. As you remember, when he spoke about this during his inaugural address, particularly also on the SONA, the annual message, where he actually set up a committee on the issue of drug addiction, particularly for the young people. He didn't just stop there. He further went to be the first person who took the drug test. He had his cabinet ministers and people to join him. He and his vice president did the drug, test. And he really put a lot of interest in the issue of LDA, looking at access, how drugs are coming into the country and how they're ending up to the young people. And most of our young people are hooked on drugs. So he takes this very, very seriously. So when he saw that internal situation with the leadership, he was disappointed. He wasn't happy. He was really angry about it. And then he went on to take the action of suspending the leadership and putting in an officer in charge, and the investigation is ongoing. I'm saying this to let you know that he's very concerned about the investigation, and he will be taking further steps as per the recommendation from the investigation that's happening. But yes, active investigation is ongoing.
Does he think that that kind of incident undermines the fight against drugs?
Oh, absolutely. He believes that it was just an embarrassment. It was a distraction that was not necessary. It was something that he thought that the team that he had put together at the entity really would have taken this very seriously, especially so that his interest is to curb drugs, especially for our young people. You see the young generation. He always talks about his interest is not about being a politician, because politicians are planning as we speak for the next elections, but for him it's about the next generation. And he says this all of the time. So because of these things, and he has really, really, really taking this drug issue very seriously, even talking to his team to ensure that LDA has more resources in working, the Ministry of Health working along with them. There was recent a graduation that he attended, that they graduated about 123 young people who went through the system. And he's really very interested in that, to have the leaders of an entity that's supposed to, make sure that these things don't happen, drugs don't end up in the wrong hands or don't even come through our borders, having these kind of internal wrangling and fight. He was in, nobody will be happy about that. That's why he took the action. He's going to see that he's waiting for the report, and then he will take further action.
Now the president is back. What's next? What are the activities planned?
Well, there are a number of different activities. He continues to do the work of the Liberian people. Tomorrow there's going to be a commissioning ceremony of some officials that were appointed but had not been commissioned. And there are a number of different things, going on. He has some work to review. There are many, many different things that he's doing, having different meetings, engaging partners, reviewing some of the things that he left, reviewing some actions that he left his people to do. When acting at the time when he left the country in charge of the Minister of State. There were some activities happening. He was on the phone back and forth, but he's been able to brief the president now. This is what we've done on XYZ. This is where we are. And then the president will be making key decisions on those. So he continues his duty as president of the country.
Okay, so let's take a couple of calls. You're listening to the Super Morning Show this morning. Presidential Press Secretary Kula Fofana is here. You can call us on 080514096 080514096. Better still, 770581886. 770581886. Let's hear from this person. Morning.
Good morning, Valerie, and a pleasant good morning to your guest, Kula. Good morning.
Good morning. 30 seconds, please.
Yeah, this is Hussein Kewu, and I rejoin you from around Jakarta. Kula, let me thank you for coming up and informing us about what is happening. But yes, ERBC is the government-owned media platform. And what I noticed that several other media platform that people spread out falsehood and informing Labento about these happenings. Now, I listened to you relentlessly, and you inform the Labento people exactly what the president went for in the involvement of the government. I want you to have that bravery to appear on some other platform that people see that is anti-government, that you can, inform the Labento people about the workings, about the president. Because when we listen to radio in the morning, people just go about spreading falsehood. And some of us who support the government will have to be indefensive. So I would love that you appear on some platform and inform even your team. It may not be you in person, but your team can go about informing Liberian people about the happenings, as it relates to the functions and operation of the government. Okay. But lastly, cool. I have some very sensitive information I would love to share. I don't know whether you might take my number or share your number with me so that we can share the information.
Yeah, you can do that off the air. Thank you very much. Let's hear from this person. Good morning. Good morning.
Hello. Good morning, Papa.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Good morning to the two First Secretary Importer of Malakula Fofana. This is Abu. I will tell me for the plan support to Pamuma according to Chief.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just want to comment our president, some or just our case today, you know, can only bring a son to cook for the president. I will tell you one of the situations, the president want no more new horse, he want new shoe. Now they was somewhere like one thing, but we love people, so that we the disabled community to make the country better for us. I don't want to commend the press secretary and the president for bringing all the teach you what happened in South Korea. But I want to ask the press secretary one question. So what is set up now about the some machine that we get about just want to get that and any other thing. So what is set up now about the machine penny? Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. 770-581-886 080-514-096. Let's hear you from this person. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning. What's the name?
My name is Jawad Akman. I call from Kingsville.
Let's hear you.
Two quick questions for the press secretary to the president. The issue about rest. What is the plan for this president to solve this problem? It's a long-standing problem. Will we always be subsidizing or only depending on the importation of rice? And secondly, what is the clear picture concerning the 285 moving equipment?
Okay. Thank you. Let's hear from this person. Morning.
Good morning, Fabio Kamara.
Good morning.
Good morning, to you guys. Yeah, I came to what about you according to Chicago.
Yep.
Yeah, I called for you to kind of ask the guys. I remember a few months back, she used the presidential press secretary official Facebook page. She posted at the imagine intensive and also. Since then, we are now anything for our activities, so we can kind of otherwise the status of it now.
Okay. Thank you very much. Morning.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. What's your name?
This is Shamo and Shamo.
Where you called from? Quickly, go ahead.
I called from Broadway. I want to say something to my own sister, Makula. We saw something before and we seen it again. The president made a lot of appointment in some position. And up to now, those people still sitting on the bench waiting. And still, governments are going on in our entity and they can't move. Opposite they will move, opposite they can't move. So I want her to tell the president that let him rectify that mistake. If the people are going to move, let them move. If they will stay there, let them stay. But we don't want halabula in this country.
Okay.
So,
Thank you. We can take a call and go back to our guests. Let's hear from this person. Good morning.
Good morning, Pastor.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good morning.
Morning. What's the name?
Okay, my name is Monica Interior, calling from Tuguru.
Yeah, go ahead, Monica.
Good morning, Madam Secretary. I would like to know have fun on the process of the war crime code because since the president signed it, we are not getting any further information for any time.
Okay. Thank you very
Okay, thank you.
much. Thank you very much. Yeah. So, Madam Fofana, you can just respond to the concerns, couple of them.
Right. Thank you very much. One of the callers comment around the internship. Yes, it's something that we intend to do. We've done all of the paperwork. We're only waiting for the budget passage and see how we can get resources for those. And as soon as we get green light that we can go, yes, we will be making that announcement. And we are also working. There's a plan to work along with the president's young professional program. I'm planning a meeting with the team soon, and then we can see how we can build support and get that program going. The other thing about the yellow machine, the last conversation that the Minister of Information informed the public, yes, that is the situation. The conversations are still happening behind the scene. And as soon as we have all of the other detailed as to where we are, when it's coming. But yes, this is something that the president is committed to doing. In fact, the president's interest on roads, especially in relation to the yellow machine conversation, is really revolutionary. And this is something that he's really concerned about, in showing that the country is open, that we are able to move from one point to the other. As you know, the 100-day process, the program is ongoing, and there are people who are coming from the southeast, coming to Monrovia in a day or two time, something that have not been done for a very long time. And the yellow machine will also help to make that even more easier. And yes, the conversation is happening behind the scene. They've not concluded on the details, and once that is concluded, the Liberian people will be informed. The issue of war crimes court, yes, the president did sign the document on the establishment of the Office of the War and Economics Crime Court, and those conversations are happening. One of the things that he's working on right now is reviewing. There's going to be an executive director who will head the office, and supported by a number of other people to work on all the modalities around the establishment. And he's reviewing the different recommendations, and that will happen as soon as possible. I think so far those were the questions, except if I'm missing anything.
You respond to the yellow machine thing.
Yes, I talked about the yellow
Okay.
machine. And the rice. Somebody
Yep,
talk
yep,
about the
yep.
rice. Yes, rice. I mean, I was still.
Well, a committee was set up, I suppose.
Yes, a committee was set up on the issue of rice. So that committee is working. And the person asked about the president's term. This is what I can tell you for a fact, because every day the president talk about the issue of rice. And one of his interests is that he wants Liberians to be involved in the importation of rice. He also wants to make sure that we're able to grow our own food. And even as part of the conversation coming out of Korea, rice was also discussed, and companies that are interested in producing rice. And even interestingly, since Korea is also a rice eating country, having Liberia as a hub for the processing of rice and ensuring that it's completed, but they can also use Liberia as that hub where they can do farm and all that, sell to us, and also export to other parts. So all of these rice conversations happening, and I can tell you, Vavle, that things will get settled and everything will align in due time.
Yeah. Finally, before you go, this concern: who are those to be commissioned tomorrow? Deputies?
Yes, I mean the
Newly
number.
appointed heads?
The number I can tell you, I'm hearing somewhere around 87.
Oh, okay.
So there's a huge, commissioning. So there'll be deputies, there'll be heads, there'll be people who were appointed. I think people who are supposed to get, commission, those ones are happening. So yes.
Okay. Thank you very much, Madam Kula Fofana. Always a pleasure having you in studio.
Thank you, Fable, and thanks to ELBC and your team here for the improvement and informing the Liberian people. Thanks.
Thank you. Well, she's a Presidential Press Secretary, Kula Fofana. My name is Vafle Kamara. Join me tomorrow for another edition. Bye-bye.